The first step you're going to do when you sculpt on your mask form is write your name, your encore number, and your table color. You're going to be sculpting around this mask, but you're not going to be adding anything to the flat part of the form. That is where you add your tape. Also, before I start, I need to have a piece of elastic. I need to measure my head for this. So I'm going to hold the elastic behind one ear and take it behind my head until I get to my other ear, leaving a little bit of space. I'm going to put that to the side. The first thing I'm going to do when I add plaster around my mask is reinforce this outside edge, dipping about an inch wide strip into water, squeegeeing it off. You can see as I smooth it out so it's not dripping wet, the plaster inside becomes reconstituted or wet again so that I can mold with. So I'm going to lay the plaster all around the edges of my mask, making sure that it's not on the flat part, but it's instead on the human form. You can see when you start smoothing it with your fingers, the plaster fills in on the holes. Dip your finger in the water. You can smooth it in. Do not cover your name up. So here's my next strip. I want to slightly overlap what I just put down. Overlapping reinforces it and makes it stronger. So I added it right on top of what I already had, just a little bit overlapping. I'm going to smooth the rest of it down, making sure that the whole piece is wet. Dip the strip in the water, squeegee it off with your hands, lay it down, slightly overlapping. See how I'm going all the way around the edge of my mask? This is reinforcing the strength and the edge of my mask so that I can wear it when I'm done. Strip in water, squeegee the strip, lay it down, slightly overlapping what I just put on, and then taking the time to smooth it with my wet finger, filling in those holes the best I can. You can see all I need is that little space left. So that is my first layer. You can also see all the jiggity-jaggedy areas here. I'm going to need to add more plaster there and smooth those areas out eventually. Once your first layer is done, you want to add the elastic before you put in the second layer. So my elastic goes behind my mask, and it should be right about where your ears are. Your ears are level with your eyes. So if I put it down here, that's where my eye is. I'm going to tear a piece of this in half so that I have two patches. You don't want all this extra string. If you have pieces of string hanging off, just take those off. Holding my elastic where I want it, making sure that the plaster is not on that flat part. It should be only on the human form. So that is my first layer. I have my elastic attached. Now I'm going to add one more layer around the base. When I do this, I want to focus on the edges and making the edges nice and smooth. So I want to lay my plaster down all the way to the edge, making sure there's no spaces and gaps. And you can see that second layer really is going to make it strong. Go all the way around one more time so that you have two coats along the edge of your mask before you do anything else. The more time you take when you smooth down your plaster, making sure that nothing is sticking up, making sure that you don't have a bunch of strings hanging off of it, the smoother you make it, the more time you take on that part, it will show. It's really wet right now. This is good for the first day. I want to take a paper towel and dry off carefully using my finger the edge of my mask so that when I come back it's not a big dusty mess, because this water will turn into straight plaster when it's dry. If you accidentally bump your mask and a piece comes up, just smooth it with your finger. Make sure I'm taking the time to press everything in so there's nothing on this edge and it's nice and smooth when I come back to it the next art class.